Welcome to another episode of Wrestling with Things. Do not forget to hit the subscribe button at the bottom right corner of your screen. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Like us, share us out on social media. Thank you. We appreciate all the support and anyone who's took the time to comment and support or give our videos a watch. And I want to get into this because I just want to essentially... I want to basically treat this episode as a state of the WWE address. This is what I want to call it. What the current state of the WWE. We're going to address that, and I really want to pick it apart. So I'm going to start with this. Not only is it going to be the state of a WWE address, but to me, I'm going to label it WWE needs a dose of the red pill. You might be asking me, you might be looking at me crazy for some people asking me, what the hell is the red pill? Well, if you watched The Matrix, they give Neo the option between the red pill and the blue pill. The blue pill keeps you naive to the reality and the harshness that reality could produce. The red pill wakes you up and lets you know that the world isn't all sunshines and rainbows. For example, I for people that are under 6 feet, the harsh reality is it's a lot harder to get into the NBA or even looked at, no matter how good you are. So the red pill is basically the blunt truth in a nutshell. Here's the blunt truth about the current state of WWE. And I'm just going to pick two things that I think is mainly holding them back. Because I don't think their TV rating being PG is holding them back. I don't think, a lack of talent is holding them back. It's definitely not that. It's not a lack of content. It's not these things that people nitpick at to me. Remember a couple months back, it's been a little bit now, when The Undertaker was on Joe Rogan's podcast. Ooh. Yeah. Great minds think alike, right? You remember that though, Sammy, right? Because stick with me here because it's going to sound like I'm going longer than usual, but I have to today. I have to. You remember that?
I love that interview. Yeah.
Great interview. And let me just pull it up to reiterate, just for context. Some people might not have saw it. So let me just pull it up. The Undertaker on Joe Rogan's podcast. And I quote, as Michael Cole would say, "The product has changed so much. It's kind of off. I'll probably piss people off, but they need to hear it. It is what it is." To the young guys who think he's the bitter old guy, I'm not bitter. I did my time. I walked away when I wanted to walk away. I just think the product is a little soft. There's guys here and there that have an edge to them, but there's too much pretty and not enough substance, I think, right now. I'm not even going to read the rest because that's the main gist of it, and that's the main thing that I wanted to focus on. I understand that oftentimes WWE mirrors society. The Attitude Era was able to blossom because the whole 90s was gritty. The Jordan's era of basketball, gritty. The rap was gritty. So WWE kind of reflected society, became gritty, edgy. But I'm not trying to make this WWE needs to be the Attitude Era discussion. The point is, the product isn't being presented with enough aggression, personal feelings, and edge. And one of the reasons that are preventing it from having the edge, I have to finally say it. A lot of people that don't deserve the show closing spot gets the show closing spot. I'm watching Monday Night Raw this past episode. And Sammy, if you didn't watch it, I don't blame you. If you had to catch up on the highlights, I don't blame you. But if you don't know, it's okay. Do you know who closed the show on Monday?
Was it Kofi?
No, you would think, right? I understand why that would be your guess, because Kofi, Drew, and Bobby are in the title picture.
Yeah, I forgot. Was it that? Or was it
No, it was
tag team?
This is what closed the show. Not the WWE Championship picture, not the best storyline that's currently on your roster. Shayna Baszler feuded against Alexa Bliss and a magical doll. That's what closed your show. And I understand, bro. I understand. Let me be clear. I already know people are going to make up their opinions because people listen with emotions rather than really listening and dissecting the words. I understand. We are in the most talented and deep pool of great women's wrestlers. We've had the first ever WrestleMania main event with Becky Lynch, Charlotte, and Ronda Rousey. They did what they had to do. They earned that spot. That was warranted. That's acceptable because they earned it and they were the hottest storyline. Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks killed it. I'm fans of these women. I love them, especially Bianca Belair. I really think she could be that woman that eventually crosses over into the mainstream. Her, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch, and Sasha Banks. I think they have mainstream crossover potential for women. Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks had a phenomenal match at WrestleMania Night 1, closed the show. They earned that. And they got the star power to say they earned that. But Shayna Baszler and Alexa Bliss do not. They just don't. So it's like, what happened to the days where you kept your hottest storyline or your hottest characters for the finale of the show closing spot? Every wrestler loves to earn the show closing spot. And now it doesn't feel like you're earning it. It feels like they're giving it to people for public relations, PR reasons, or for politically correct reasons. I'm sorry, it's hurting the product now. It really is. The Alexa Bliss and Shayna Baszler feud has not been hot. No, I'm not saying it's not hot because they're girls and women. I'm saying it's not been hot because it just hasn't been hot. She's beefing with a doll.
The whole, in general.
It's not working anymore. It was only working. It was only working a little bit when the Fiend was on TV. Yeah. But he hasn't been on TV and they're still spotlighting her, which makes no sense to me.
Yeah,
exactly. It makes sense when she's the sidekick. That was the whole point of it. But for the fact that you're giving them that spot just because you're bored, just because you're an autopilot and you're like, oh, let's just give Shayna and Alexa the spot tonight. Why? And then you wonder why people might tune out of that third hour. You want to know why? And this is the red pill, the uncomfortable truth. They don't believe that Shayna and Alexa deserve that spot. They already saw Bobby and Drew do their contract signing in their segment in the second hour. That's what they mainly want to see. They're out. And just to give some hard facts, I'm going to toss it over to you because this has been way longer for me to speak.
Oh, no.
I want to hear, and don't hold back any counters, anything you might agree, disagree, give it to me. We got to call a spade. Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks, like I said, we've been on multiple episodes. You think they killed it. I think they killed it. They really did kill it. This is not a knock on women. But you want to know something? Reports came out after night 1 of WrestleMania that people were leaving early when their match came on. 2020 Elimination Chamber. When Shayna Baszler first debuted in the Elimination Chamber to earn a number 1 contenders match against Becky Lynch, it was an all-women's Elimination Chamber. They closed the show at Elimination Chamber. People were leaving early. We're not seeing a pattern here. I'm not hating. This is just what happened. The first ever all-women's pay-per-view Evolution. They did fairly well. Let's give props with credit is due. Let's give credit with credit's due. Becky Lynch and Charlotte had a great epic match. I remember it like it was yesterday. Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella was great. But it doesn't work. They struggled to sell out an 11,000 seat arena. And then you see people on Twitter, you see people on Facebook just capping and lying, saying, "Oh, we need an all-women's show every week. Oh, we need an all-women's show, a pay-per-view again." But what did the facts say? But the majority of the audience isn't disrespecting women's wrestling. We've seen they got better. We've seen that they have stars that could earn a show closing spot. But it's rare. You don't toss these spots to Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, these regulars, these mid-card women's wrestlers. And it's not just a women. It's not just a women thing. I'm going to call out SmackDown a little bit, even though Roman Reigns has been doing great. Apollo Crews has been doing great. Big E's been doing great over there. Why is Dominic and Rey Mysterio closing that show? A guy that looks like a kid and a guy and a wrestler that is a kid, essentially. What happened to the day where the hottest storyline got the spot? The hottest character got the spot. And I can't take the politicalness. You just sense the politicalness when they're tossing people these slots now. Like, wrestling fans are trained to think the last thing we see is the main attraction. As soon as they see something that they're not buying, they're going to tune away. So I'm going to toss it to you before we continue, man. Go ahead. I'm curious about your thoughts.
No, it's definitely true. At the end of the day, what brings the biggest excitement is when you can see two hard-hitting, crazy-looking specimens beating the hell out of each other. That's what's always going to make the most money. That's what's always going to bring the most excitement. That's what's always going to see what people are going to break the records. Look at John Cena versus The Rock. Now, greatest woman that ever existed.
Mm-hmm.
Did they draw the same?
Exactly.
It definitely. It wasn't even close. It's not even comparable. You know what I mean? Because it's all come down to the greatest specimen talent that should be the thing that sells your ticket. That should be on your banner. That should be in front of your building, no matter what. Like, and it's no disrespect to the women. Like,
it's not,
because they can perform too. They have a very important role in all this.
Yes, absolutely.
They really, really do. I at the end of the day, the show can't work without them, but you just can't oversaturate them all over the show.
At the end of the day, you can't pluck them. You cannot pluck them into the marquee show closing spot. It takes a special attraction to make it work. Even
though the show can't survive without them, you need them there.
Absolutely,
you really need them there. But to your other point, remember the last session we did when you asked me if Vince McMahon in Disney is really a real possibility. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
This is exactly what I was talking about. They're heading towards that direction anyway. And I think that's exactly what Undertaker was talking about when he was on Joe Rogan. They're heading anyway. Now, I'm not trying to say that, they have to come out every single week and have naked women, or
not at all.
Curse every single line, or bring guns like they used to in the Attitude. Yeah. They don't have to do that, but at the end of the day, a lot of the characters, a lot of the personalities, it's just cheesy, and grown grown men don't want to see cheesy. It's just the way it is. It is just the way. You are right. There's guys like Roman, Biggie, Drew, Lashley, Rollins. There's certain guys who don't have that cheesy character, but then you look at the rest and it's like, really, they came up with in terms of personality. You know what I mean? I just think that part fix. Like, there's just you don't have to fix everybody, because there's always gonna be cheesy comedy guys that are there. It's always been there. It always existed. You don't have to do that to everybody. But the guys that you really care about, that you really can have a future, they need to work better on the character development. That's really what I think it comes down to.
This is good. No, this is good. This is really good conversation. I'm really glad we're doing it, because it needs to be had. Because, and I think you made some good points. And even though I slightly disagree, I don't think Vince is looking to sell WWE. That's just my guess. I could be wrong. But if Disney, if a big company like Disney, if anybody was to buy it, Disney definitely got the clout and the money to do it. So I wouldn't be surprised. But I just view it like Vince's wrestling. Wrestling is Vince's baby. I still think he's going to hold on to it. But back to the greater point, go ahead. Go ahead.
But you don't think that would be a win-win situation for Vince? Because it seems like he's targeting that demographic anyway.
I don't think he's targeting that demographic, but
really,
I think they target families. They target, because the way they target things is the kids will like the kids will like the product. The preteens and teens, and then those kids' parents will take them to the show so the whole family could come. So they kind of target the whole family. And believe it or not, I think I was reading a report very recently that a lot of old people, like, you'd be surprised, a lot of late 40s and 50-year-olds actually watch a lot of Monday Night Raw in the demographic report. So they're kind of targeting the whole family, but I get your point. They do a lot of cheesy stuff that only the younger audience would enjoy.
A 12-year-old,
you know what I mean? Yeah, the preteens, yeah. But I get that point. But kind of going to go back to the initial point of addressing the current state of things. What I hate, and I hate to have to do this, but it's the truth. If I lie, I can't sleep at night. What I'm hating is that the fans on the internet, predominantly the men, lie about their takes. They lied in their takes and say, they say things like, the women do deserve their own show. The women do deserve this or that. How, when they get those things, people are walking away, or people aren't buying at the same rate they would for the men? Let me ask you this. When has there been a show in WWE when the women were the main reason it sold out? Matter of fact, do a show, start Monday Night Raw or SmackDown this week. Take Roman off, take Apollo off, take Big E off, take them all off, the Usos. Leave Carmella, leave Bianca Belair, leave Bayley, leave Sasha Banks, leave Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, leave the roster. Tell me what's going to happen. Not what your emotions tell you is going to happen. What's really going to happen?
It won't work. Think about it. If you're an 11-year-old kid, right? And that's who I'm just taking a guess. That's because that's who is mostly going to watch this, like a 11-year-old kid. They're probably gonna say, "Hey, I want to be like Roman Reigns."
Exactly.
They're not gonna say, "Hey, they're not gonna say." You know what I mean? It's just how it goes. You know what I mean? They want the Superman like guy. That's just how it goes.
And it's like, and the audience that's going to be tuning in today, like I said, this is for the intelligent ones will understand our message, because I know most people don't think with their brains, and they're going to look at us as people that are just bashers. But we're telling the truth here. And let's be honest, as fans, when it comes to sports, when it comes to things that involve physicality, like wrestling does, even if you don't consider wrestler a traditional sport, because it's not traditionally a sport, the physicality that's involved is tremendous. Everything in this world that involves physicality, our subconscious inner mind wants to see the men participate. If you see a fight down the street or in a bar, whether we like to admit it or not, if it's two big guys fighting, we're going to run. We're going to probably take our phones and record, or we're going to run in there and watch to see how it unfolds. Yeah. That's just how life is. We associate violence and physicality with men. Men have the testosterone. Men have the strength. Men are notoriously more known for physicality in sports and roughness.
Yeah.
When we think of women, again, they got the best women's roster in the world. They got stars that are women. But when we think about women and the average fan, whether they want to admit it or not, we think prettiness. We think innocence. We think softness. It's not that we want to think that. It's the world conditioned us to be like that. We think women are innocent. So you're telling me the average, a male-dominated industry. Now, they got a lot of women fans. I'm not negating that. But sports and entertainment is mostly, guys are into it. Mostly guys are in the audience at the end of the day.
That's how it goes.
Whether you're 11, whether you're 40, whether you're 20, to reiterate what you're saying, in the back of your brain, you want to see the biggest, the baddest man, the biggest, the baddest heavyweights collide.
Because that's who's gonna do the things that make you go, wow.
That's the savagery that we pay to see. That's the physicality we pay to see. And this really has nothing to do. I think this has less to do with gender and just how the world has been conditioned to view genders. We are conditioned to think men are physical, men are strong, and they are overall. So I don't like how essentially the same way, and I got to keep it a sec, the same way feminism and womanism is making the outside world and society, try to feel like men are lesser or men got to take a back seat with everything now, is what WWE's adopting. That men always got to take the best feud, always has to take the back seat. We have to throw a bone just to be like, oh look, we gave this many women this spot, and it's so bad. Even Triple H addressed it on a conference call this week. Triple H was asked, why haven't we had another all-women show, or why don't we get a weekly all-women show? And I'm paraphrasing here, but this is literally what he said. This is not quote for quote, but this is literally what he said. He said, to me, that's not equality. Giving the women their own show to just go out there and be away from the men, that's not equality. It's not equality at all. What equality is letting women shine on the same show as the men and let them blossom into stars on the same platform as the men.
On the same thing.
But giving them their own weekly show to set up to fail when they don't have the depth, when they don't have the complete entertainers.
Another problem, the depth.
That's not equality. That would set them up to fail. Even Triple H, who scouts all the talent, he knows what he's talking about. Wrestling fans always think they know better than the guys that are working there. He knows what he's talking about. He said to me, that's not equality. I think we do a great job of fairly now presenting our women and giving them time. I don't think we need another women's show. Maybe we'll think about doing another all women's pay-per-view, but that's not needed right here, right now. If he's saying that, ask yourself why.
Even an all women's pay per view, I think would pull. It's pulling a little too far. Even that, I'm not sure that can be pulled off. You know what I mean? Because a pay per view is 3 hours. Now, how much?
And 3 hours is too long for a wrestling show? I don't think I've ever asked that.
I don't think it's too long.
You think it's too long for Monday Night Raw? 3 hours?
I don't think it's too long. I don't think it's
me either.
I just think they're not really deep enough to hold that interest right now.
Yeah,
that's really what
for 3 whole hours. Yeah,
that's really what I think it is. Because we've been going through this too. You know, I've been coming at the Monday Night roster.
Yeah, it has holes at the top.
It has a lot of holes. And even in the tag team, in the middle card, the upper card, there's a lot of holes.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think 3 hours is too long at all, but I agree with you that they don't have the right combination of talent on that roster to consistently make you want to ride out the whole show. Like and I do think 3 hours sets you up for more filler. Like I think they rely on filler segments sometimes when you could really be dedicating those segments to something that advances a story. I think they need this draft. There's a rumored draft for August and September coming up. I really wish they would move it to July because they need a reset. They need a reload. They need to tell themselves that it's a 3 hour show. We need to have talent and feuds lined up for months at a time. For example, if you do a draft, let's say you keep Lashley and Drew on Raw, and let's say, you know, they get talent like Kevin Owens and Daniel Bryan and stuff like that. If Bobby Lashley is going to be fighting Drew, his next opponent has to be planned out the next 2 months, ready to go. Like, I got Daniel Bryan ready to step up. I got Kevin Owens ready to step up. I think you need to stack the talent so you're not scrambling to find a contender like Cesaro or Kofi, a filler opponent. You need to have guys set up looking strong, incredible, ready to step up at any time.
Or you're not using Drew 4 times in a row.
Exactly. That's another problem. Repetition.
4 times in a row.
Repetition. That's another problem.
And that's ridiculous. And what you say about filler too, I really don't think filler is bad. I just think you need good filler.
That's what I'm saying. You need good filler.
Back then, you know, when we seen guys like Val Venus and Godfather, you know what I mean? We wasn't telling them to get off the screen. We wanted to see it for a little while because it was actually good filler.
Yeah, that's a great point. You're right about that. They give us R-Truth running from people for the 24/7 freaking champion. We've seen it enough time. It was all right at first, you know, when he was getting pinned at you know, weddings and on the airport. That was cool. But you're giving us this every week on Raw with the same sucky wrestlers, Akira Tozawa, Drew Gulak. Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, we don't want to see those guys.
Cut the dead weight out of your segments.
They don't have good characters. They don't have good personalities. They're not over the top. Like, what is the benefit of them? What is really the benefit? And it would be one thing. Maybe they should think about turning R-Truth how he used to be when he was a bad guy. And maybe that would be good filler.
That's where I'm at. Like, why don't you play with the ideas? All right, we understand that title's not like a main priority.
He's not that funny.
But when he was conspiracy guard, he was funny.
He was funny.
That's what worked.
Was working. Yeah.
So why not try that? Switch it up. Play with it. I know it's not a main priority, but play with it. Make every segment have a goal. Make every feud feel like the guys really personally dislike each other or are personally trying to outdo each other. Come on, bro. Another thing on Raw. Nikki Cross and Asuka beat Charlotte and Rhea Ripley because Rhea Ripley and Charlotte turn on each other. They jump on the announce table and start dancing afterwards. Are you serious, bro? Are you kidding me? Asuka, all this stuff, bro. What is that, bro?
I've been trying to tell you about that. I never understood the character.
I love Asuka. I love Asuka.
She can fight.
She's an all-time great woman. We gotta end it. Her resume doesn't do it for her.
We're not gonna do that.
Come on, I don't want to get too far down this part. Her resume doesn't do it for you. Multiple time SmackDown champion, multiple time Raw champion, Royal Rumble.
Maybe top 15.
Outside of the horsewomen, who's better than her?
Oh, come on, Dave. Come on.
Give me one, and I will be fair about it. Give me it.
So we're gonna forget about Lita, Stratus.
Oh, you're talking about currently.
Oh, you talking about currently?
Currently.
Okay, all right. I thought you said all-time great. I apologize.
She is an all-time great.
I apologize.
She is an all-time great for what she's doing now.
Currently, she's there.
She's one of the best.
She's one of the best on the roster currently. She is. But because Ronda's not here and Becky's not here, and
she was doing work. She was doing work when they were there.
She has a resume. I give it to her. She can fight. But character-wise,
her character still. I'll admit it. Her character's done. It's done. They need to change it.
It's always been bad to me, except for when she was undefeated.
Come on, Nikki Cross, who was supposed to be dark, scary, dangerous, technically sound. When she came from Sanity, now she's dancing and surprised that she won a match. What this business is built off making us feel like these people are competing, making it feel like they're competing for the crowd. They're competing for a spot on the card. They're competing for the marquee spots. Why are you dancing?
She's actually bigger than a lot of divas too. Who's more has like a monster diva type role. She's bigger than a lot of women. Nikki Cross?
Yeah, and especially the fact that she was with Eric Young's crew as a scary type. Why aren't you being used as the scary type? It worked with her in NXT. Now, first she was Alexa Bliss's best friend, and now she's running around doing cheesy, corny stuff. The corniness, the volume is turned up too much for the corniness. And part of that is because, I'm sorry, they try to hand out the main event slot, what we all know as closing the show. Everybody wants to close the show. They hand it out like it's a yard sale. They hand it to Dominic and Ray and the Usos. They hand it to, and I understand Roman Reigns did get involved in that segment, so they're probably thinking Roman saved it. But still, the Dominic and Ray should not get your show closing spot. No. Alexa Bliss and Shayna should not ever close your show unless they prove that they have the hard storyline, but they haven't proved it, and I'm tired of it, man. I'm really tired of it, and I don't care what anybody has to feel. The reality is the reality, man.
And Dominic and Ray, like they don't hold that much interest. Come on.
That's what I'm saying.
Both guys can't talk. One guy's on the decline. And one guy you could clearly see is super green.
He's super green. He's doing all right for a 21-year-old, but he's green. Super green.
And he has to build some weight. Come on.
Yeah. He's doing all right for a kid, but come on, bro. We're giving green guys the spot like it's nothing. Like, come on, man. What are we doing here now? Does that spot mean anything anymore? Does it mean anything?
It doesn't mean as much. It just means for what they want to reach out to for the next deal.
Exactly.
Which is exactly why I'm telling you, Disney could be around the corner. Don't be shocked if you wake up one morning and look at your phone and WWE's partners with Disney or WWE is now under Disney branch. Don't be shocked if you see that, because I won't. And that's the day I'm leaving too. That's the day I'm retiring. I'm retiring from watching sports entertainment.
You know what? I don't ever envision my retirement. I really don't. But I have to agree with you. That might be.
Oh, it's gonna get you too?
Listen, my plan is to be with this forever because I really speaking for myself, I really love the art of wrestling. I love all the creativity behind it. I love the athleticism. I have so much respect for the grind and just the business. It's a great business. Like all the creativity and planning into the business. I love the art of it. But if they go to Disney, that's the beginning of the end of good content.
Yeah.
Let's just call it what it is. It's going to be political all the time now.
Yeah, because that's the
I might have to stop. And I never thought I would say that.
No, that's the stamp. That's the stamp.
That would tell me that, oh, we really don't care about main event spots. We really don't care about giving edge. We really don't care about grudge matches. We just want to be under this umbrella of kiddies.
Yeah, we'll focus on 5 through 12, like I said. And which it seems like that's the road they're tumbling. And that they're tumbling to. I see it. I kind of see it. You know what I mean? Because there's literally only like 4 or 5 guys that I can really say have a real character. There's only like 4 or 5 guys that I can really say that.
Sheamus is one. I'll give him leeway to say he comes off like a grown man. There's not a lot of people that come off grown-ass men.
Yeah, Roman's another one. Maybe 6. Roman's another one. Seth's one of them. Drew's one of them.
Yeah, Lashley's
definitely one of them.
Lesnar whenever he's here, but he's not a full-timer.
He's not a full-time guy. You know, Orton. And after that, I kind of struggled.
Yeah.
I kind of struggle, like, who has a real tough guy character. Like, you're a wrestler. You're supposed to come off like a tough guy.
At the end of the day, yeah, you could have your own gimmick. You could have a flashy gimmick, but at the core of your character, you're supposed to portray toughness. You're supposed to portray an edge. You're supposed to portray a larger than life human being that the regular guy can't live up to. The regular guy on the streets can't live up to your look, your physique, your promos, your you know what you do in the ring. Like, you're not supposed to come off as regular. Like, right. It baffles me that a lot of the fans try to act like that doesn't matter, bro. I know society has evolved for the better, and they have. But we're talking about sports here. If you let's do a doubleheader. Let's say the NBA and WNBA, the NBA has affiliations with the WNBA. Let's say their TNT doubleheader or their Christmas Day, you know, when they run games. Let's say in their primetime spots, they put the WNBA games and they kept the NBA games in the early afternoon out of the primetime spots. Do you think that people would be watching those women's game more than the men's game? No.
Absolutely not.
That's why the NBA doesn't do their double headers with them.
And that's why they don't. That's why they don't get the same salary.
That's why.
That's why.
You gotta draw interest to justify getting the spot.
Men want to see young, pushes.
Hard fouls, arguing. They want to see the manly testosterone, aggressive stuff.
Yeah, and that's just not what women can provide. It's just the nature.
That's just nature, human nature.
It don't mean that they're not respected as great athletes. They're great athletes.
Exactly.
They're great. It's hard to do what they do. We know it's hard to do what they do. You know what I mean? We want this. The thing that's gonna get us out our seat and make us excited is when someone does a tomahawk dunk. You know, we're not gonna see that in the WNBA.
You're not. But I just really needed to say that, and this WWE really needs the dose. They need that dose of the red pill. They need to wake up to the fact that you can't please everybody. Please do what was working. Stop trying to please everybody. Stick with the hardest feud. Stick with the best guys getting the show closing spot in the main spots, and put an edge into these characters and the acting and the mannerisms. Like you said, it doesn't have to be Attitude Era with, tits and middle fingers, but damn, act like a relatable, human being. Act like somebody like you really want to tear the person apart. That's what you're supposed to make the audience feel.
Yeah. True.
And I really think that's the number one problem. The second, if I had to name a second thing that goes kind of hand in hand with it, I would say is that their filler is too weak. You really can't have weak filler. And especially in a day and age where people watch stuff through their phones and people go on YouTube and watch DVR and record stuff, you got to be able to keep people's attention engaged really well. And when you have bad filler, it just doesn't do that very well. What would you say another problem is outside of, them trying to weaken characters and weaken how they move?
Another problem I think is it's also the tag team division.
Oh, where really?
I think the tag team division, it was up for a long time. It went back up, and then now I think it went back down. Because I was just not too long ago watching that what did they have, a battle royal or elimination? What was that thing on Monday?
It was a battle royal. I thought that was a good battle royal. I thought it was cool.
But the tag team names, it just didn't do it for me.
Who do you think are the solid tag teams left?
Obviously, New Day.
Yeah, they got it on lock. Yeah.
Usos. I like Street Profits.
Usos are great. Yeah. What about Viking Raiders?
They don't do it.
I like them. I think they're good. They're really good at what they do. They're two athletic big men.
Yeah, but the characters are so 80s.
Yeah. The character's an 80s character.
It's so 80s.
That's so 80s. It's Vikings. They would look like they would be fighting Earthquake and Typhoon in the 80s.
Just because they're big and meaty, you have to make them Vikings.
they could wrestle, dog. They be doing some crazy stuff. I'll say that. They're all right.
RK Bro, it doesn't do it.
You gotta admit they're coming around. The chemistry wise,
it's still cheesy to me. It doesn't do it. I don't like the segments. I don't like the way they team up. I don't like them stealing each other's moves. I don't like that stuff, man. At least try to be a real team.
What about Otis and Chad Gable on Smack? You don't like Otis is back where he belongs. He's a tag team competitor.
How come Chad Gable wasn't part of that? Those powers. Yo,
damn. Chad Gable's a really great technical wrestler.
Let's be serious. Has he ever worked?
As a singles guy, no. As a tag team guy, he's great.
No, he worked with Jordan.
Jason Jordan and them were great.
Yeah, they were really good. I liked when they were
like another team angle.
But after that, he does random stuff every year.
Wow, he was in the finals of the King of the Ring against Corbin.
He can't something random. That was random. that was random. They just wanted to do something random, and they boosted him up. He what's good? Like he can fight too.
Nah, he's like a poor man Kurt Angle in the ring. I'll say that, no lie.
He reminds me of the guy that Angle used to have, Charlie Haas.
Yeah, he's like he could really wrestle his ass off, but he don't got a lot of charisma. Yeah, he can wrestle.
They put him in random stuff every time because they know he's boring. Why wasn't he part of that release squad?
Damn, man. You calling for the man's job?
What are they? What are they going to do?
I think this Otis spot works perfectly for him.
Really? With Otis?
No, for real. As a tag team, it works. It works, bro. They both. He was an Olympian. You gotta give him respect. He was Olympian for real. For real. He could wrestle.
Otis is a comedy character.
He is.
We know that's not gonna.
But they turned him heel. He's been doing less comedy. He's been doing a lot less comedy, man.
That's great.
Wasn't Rikishi and two cool comedy characters, man? That's what Otis is kind of reminds me of.
But the people love Rikishi.
They did love Rikishi. Cool. They love Too Cool.
They those were actually real dancers. You know what I mean? They actually knew how to really dance and really get the crowd going.
You're right. You're right. But Otis, they were over.
Well, come on, Chad Gable and Otis could stay too because Otis is a big man. You know what I mean? Otis is always we can always figure something out with Otis. But Chad, I don't know what are they gonna do?
I see him in AEW. He already did that. He went to 205.
Maybe you should go back to NXT with Finn.
That would be a decent spot for him, honestly. But so Uso, Street Profits, New Day. Just them? You don't think anyone else is solid? Lucha House Party? They're a decent they're not a solid high flying team. Come on, you need high flying teams for those ladder matches and those matches you need the spots in.
You're right. They're necessary.
You need that flavor. But you need the jump guys.
But we know they're never gonna be a serious deal.
No,
you know what I mean. They're not. They don't have. They need to start creating more serious.
AJ and Omos, I consider them a serious deal right now.
That's not real. We know,
but I think, to be fair, I think they're good champions. They're doing good as champions.
No, they are.
It's working.
It will. That's something that will work for a while. It will, but we know where it's heading to. We know it's not, it's something that could last for and be milked for years, like the New Day.
Yeah, you're right.
Street Profit.
They're not a real set team, but Dolph Ziggler, Bobby Roode. You see? Nah, you might be right. The tag team it's been neglected a little bit.
It's been neglected.
I do think the pandemic has made it worse.
It was good a couple years ago. It was real good.
Yeah.
They had like at least a good crop going. And now I just think they need to add a couple more real teams. Just some real teams who could be in the mix.
Yeah, I really think a lot of NXT teams, because they got a lot of more established NXT teams, like the Undisputed Era. They definitely, I think they just got to do they're going to have to take a lot of guys from NXT and they're going to have to move a lot of guys around, man, when they do this draft, because the depth is lacking in the tag team. The depth is lacking in Raw's main event, and the depth is lacking for, the top women, because obviously some of them have been on a break. Yeah, some of them having kids.
Yeah.
Those things are gonna have to be addressed, but I the only part I part ways with you is the Viking Raiders. I think they're solid.
Come on,
I think they're a solid real team. It is a 80s gimmick,
not gonna last.
But they're entertaining.
That character last, dude. It's like, come on, we're not in that era no more where your character has to be, you know what I mean, something mystical or something.
You gotta dress up like your character, like back in the '93 era where they had Brutus Beefcake dressed in like a barber,
walking around with scissors, big.
Yeah, you dress up like your character.
Come on, like it's so 80s.
Hey, it's 80s, but you gotta admit, when people were dressing up like their characters, they had identities more than they do now. Now people don't have characters. At least they had identities and characters.
That's true. No, that's true. Because
I'd rather you have a 80s character that's a little outdated than to you be the generic guy that just wrestles well.
No, you're right. You're right. Because there some guys you can point to on the roster who was like that.
There's a lot, bro.
They what they are still.
Cesaro, Ricochet, that Humberto Carrillo, that Latino guy that be fighting Sheamus lately.
Dominic Mysterio.
Real talk.
It's just his son. That's the only way we can.
Nah, I only cut him slack because he's young in the business and he'll grow. But you're right. He is one of those people right now. Chad Gable. Come on, man.
Chad Gable. We really
Apollo Crews was one of those dudes, but he escaped that lane. He added to his character.
He improved. I give him a good grade.
Yeah.
He improved himself a lot. If there's a most improved award, I might have to give it to him. No,
real talk. It really might be him. He came a long way. He came up. I didn't think he could get out of that hole he was creatively. But I want a quick
Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah, I hate to say it. Shelton's my man. I have so much respect for him. He's one of them.
He was with too. The other guy he was with.
Cedric's worse. Yeah, Cedric Alexander.
Cedric Alexander.
Yeah.
What are you guys? You just athletic?
You're just athletic, good wrestlers. Nothing, no other identity. Come on, man. And then people cry about these guys and say, why hasn't Vince came from a title shot? Why? They deserve better. They should go to AEW where they would get treated better. You're not earning better. Vince just books this. You gotta come up with better for yourself. You gotta perform better. At the end of the day, a big part of wrestling is acting. To me, great actors make any role work. Great wrestlers make bad gimmicks look good. That's just really my opinion.
Like Stone Cold says, he just gives you the meat. You gotta finish the.
Come on. Great performers make bad scripts great. Great actors make bad roles great. That's just what it is. I don't care. I'm sick of this thought of, the new thing, just because AEW exists. Their ideas will be taken to AEW. So what? Your job is to get the creative, get the story, and knock it out the park. Who said it has to come out of your brain? Who says it has to be your idea?
And look at the guys who went to AEW.
Look at them.
Do they have great characters now?
Exactly. Do they tell great stories over there?
I don't see nobody with a crazy character now. Who? Jack Swagger?
Jericho? Cody?
Even him, his character got worse.
Real talk. The first year when he was champion, he started off with a little buzz, but it got worse. It's getting worse every minute now.
It got worse.
It's crazy, bro.
Mero, whatever you want.
Sting?
Rusev? Mero.
Mero.
Character's not. He was better as Rusev.
I like the Bulgarian brute. Come on, man. At the end of the day, and WWE has a lot of flaws. We just named the ones that they need to fix. But one thing they always will know how to do is tell stories in and out of the ring better than anybody else. The storytelling element and production will always be elite. Yeah. But at the end of the day, they have a lot of work to do with getting back to the basics. Get back to the basics of personal rivalries. Guys that really had grudges, guys that really had to settle something in the ring. People that really went deep to make us feel certain emotions when we watched them, man. Like, get back to the basics. Get back to the basics of your world title closes the show. It's the most important title, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Unless The Rock pops up on Raw or and starts having a grudge match with Triple H, your world title should close the show.
Yeah.
Unless you have something that makes more sense.
Or if Undertaker could fight us.
Yeah, a special attraction. If it's a special attraction, it's different.
Or Cena comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that you could really say is above what the title means.
Exactly.
But the title means everything.
Come on, bro.
It means everything.
It's where everybody ultimately wants to be. Don't slap it in the face by having it be the second segment at like 9:30 and Bobby Lashley and Drew have a contract signing and then Drew hits the table with a sword. It was a good segment, but it would have been better if you saved it for last. It would have raised the intensity.
And what the hell is that? Like you're hitting things with swords?
Nah, you didn't like that? I like that. He used the sword. He hit the table with a sword.
At least almost hit them.
You're right. That would have been better. At least try to hit him, have him move out the way.
They run out the way.
Yeah. That would have been a nice tease.
Why are you hitting the table for?
That's on point. That would have been a better idea because it would have been shock value. Like, yo, he really swung the sword.
Yeah,
like damn.
It would have made it look like he's trying to kill these guys.
Yeah, edge, the edge we want to see. Like,
but they're so PC. They made him hit the table.
Let him get mad and hit a table. Because if I hate a guy, I'm gonna want to hit the table instead of
hit the table instead of trying to charge at him.
Come on, man, wake up. Wake up, man. And I wanted AEW to succeed to see if they could make WWE wake up and stop coasting. But screw it. I don't want them to succeed no more because their fans piss me off, man. Their fans really think they're perfect. You can't say nothing about AEW without these dudes getting their panties in a bunch, bro. I hope AEW doesn't succeed, bro. I really don't. Just to see these people get humbled. It's not that I want people to lose their jobs. I hope they don't succeed.
I still hope they do.
No. Don't get me wrong. This is me just talking shit. I still want WWE to feel pressure because that you can't trade the pressure of competition. When competition is doing well, you can't trade that. That's why WCW pushed them. But the other half of me is like, yo, if they went out of business or if they got bought out, I ain't gonna be mad, bro. I'm not gonna feel bad for them.
I can see that soon, but I don't want to see that. I
don't want to either.
I want something to happen where they get some type of boost or they get some type of big steam, so that WWE can go on board and just be like, hey. You know what I mean? Let's actually try to, show them who can get grittier. And that's when they're at the end of the day, that's when they're at their best.
Yeah.
It's just when they're
Why can't we go to what worked the best?
History shows that's when they're at their best. Even
in the ruthless aggression era. They weren't forcing it. They weren't forcing it like the Attitude Era, but they gave you enough edge where you could believe in these guys and these people, bro.
And they gave so much classic moments.
Come on, great era. Why?
Great era.
Why can't we go to? You don't have to go to Attitude Era levels. Go to ruthless aggression levels.
Right.
That's all we're asking.
It was, and you'll get more classic moments. You'll get more out of your roster that way. You know what I mean? Like you just will, because everybody wants to step up.
Definitely. But I want to quickly end with this. The rumors are coming. Brock's supposed to be at SummerSlam. Cena, the guy that we talk over and over again that he might not ever wrestle for real. At least it seems, but the talks are really warming up that this dude is gonna make an appearance sometime soon on SmackDown, and the hope is that Roman Reigns and Cena headline the show. How realistic? Best out of 10, how realistic you think it is?
For both of them or just one?
For Cena and Reigns to be the main attraction, the headline.
Okay. All right. I thought you were talking about...
I think Brock for sure. I'm willing to bet Brock for sure will come after all this time. So I'm not really concerned about that.
Yeah. If it's a Brock, I'm going like a 9, a 8.
Yeah.
If it's a Cena, I'm going like a 2 or 3.
Damn.
You know what I mean? Like I don't see what would be the real benefit if you're Cena, if you're in Cena's shoes. I see what WWE wants to do because they want to make sure they get that WrestleMania type of atmosphere as soon as the fans come back, and that'll be the illest jump start.
Yeah, it really would though.
To something big, it would. But if you're Cena, I don't see what would be the purpose. You know what I mean? I think it would be better to either wait it out for Roman to become that traditional baby face of the company. I think that would make a better match. That'd make the matchup better. And I think if you're Cena, you know what I mean, why risk it? You already have your things lined up. You already have a bunch of big things lined up. You know what I mean? You don't have to risk any right now.
Would you feel a little differently about what Cena gets out of it if it's a scenario of he fulfilled all his commitments, he recorded all his latest projects, and he got like a month or two off, and he's like, let me do SummerSlam. So that would basically mean his schedule's freed up. Would you feel a little differently about the match if his schedule's, freed up? Because I think if he's to show up at all, it's because his schedule's freed up a little bit.
If you're Cena, do you think it's worth it? If you're in Cena's shoes, do you really think that's something that you really should do? I really don't think so.
I think
you fought Reigns already.
I think considering, but everybody forgot about that, to be honest with you. Nobody remembered that like that. We remember Cena eating them in promos, but nobody remembered the match wasn't memorable. Like, so, but
which is why I think the way.
I think considering the fact that we're about to get live fans, and although WrestleMania had fans, things were still shaky. So I don't think they were fully able to have that full WrestleMania feel. So I'm looking at it like SummerSlam's basically going to be what WrestleMania. I think in their mind, SummerSlam's going to be what WrestleMania should have been under normal circumstances. So looking at it like that, I feel like, if you could get Cena, if his schedule's freed up, you're at the point where, you do. Would it be nice for it to be the traditional babyface passing the torch versus babyface? Yeah, but something tells me that this feud will work just as well with John Cena being the heroic hero coming back after all this time to shut up the cocky villain who finally just got good at what he does. I think they have a great story they could tell there. And I think you're crazy if you don't try to blow up Cena's phone and get it. I think you're crazy. This SummerSlam has to hit a home run. And if you're gonna have Brock and Lashley, which is most likely gonna happen, You need a SmackDown needs to match that. Nothing else matches that or exceed it.
If I'm Cena, right, I'm coming to really pass the torch to the next guy who's gonna be that, not like me, but similar to what I was doing. You know what I mean? That's what I'm coming to do. I'm coming to pass that to him. That's why I think he should wait it out even more. Wait for Roman to become more, not more.
They
likely,
can't afford to wait anymore.
Why not? What's the problem?
Because we don't know. We don't know. His schedule always has something coming up. Waiting, you could sit here and think you got time to wait. 10 years goes by, and next thing you know, he's at the top of the movie charts, and he never has time for you.
That's not.
I think that's what they're looking at. Like, you got to strike while the iron's hot. We don't know when we'll get him again.
If they can get somebody like Rock for a little bit of time, they'll be able to get Cena down that line.
But Cena's 44.
Rock was what?
How much longer could you afford to wait?
Rock was around that same age, bro.
You let time go by, he's going to be 46, 47. Like, you can't afford to wait. You don't know what he's going to decide.
They can get him. They can get him within the next.
I don't understand this wait mentality. They've already waited too long, technically.
How's that? How? He was here like 2 years ago.
Oh my God, bro.
They wasted his time.
They waited too long, technically, bro.
They wasted my man's time with some stupid Titantron shit 2 years ago.
Yo,
if I'm Cena, I'm like, yo,
why you keep acting like we didn't have COVID, man?
Yeah, but still, come on.
That's what made that happen.
If I'm Cena, I'm like, yo, let me cool it out. Let me wait it out until he gets to that level of me or Rock, and then I can give it to him. Because he's not at that level yet.
He's not at that level, but I think he's not
at that level.
I think he's as high. He's at the highest level he's ever been.
Yes.
And the gap between him and everybody else is so big that I think you could pull it off still.
You can pull it off. I'm not saying
and make a lot of money off of it.
But it would be better if he was at that point that they was when they were running hot in their full-time runs.
That's asking for a lot, man.
No, it's not asking for a lot. He's on his way. He's on his way.
No, he is, but I really think that when maybe another. I really think that he's hard enough where he doesn't have to be the traditional good guy. He got hard enough. The beating Edge and Daniel Bryan and stacking them, I think, got him hard enough to be like, okay.
He will be.
I believe this.
He has to go through what they went through too. He will be. He's gonna have to carry that burden of being,
He has to wait.
The baby face that carries the company.
He has to wait until the crowd organically just decides to keep cheering him. And it will happen. It will happen.
He's on his way to that.
Oh, we just don't know when. That's my issue. It will happen.
In the next couple of years. He's not going to be here.
People are going to start cheering him out of respect because of all the work he's put in.
And then that's when he's going to be at that.
Cena won't be able to wrestle in the ring by then. That's my fear. Come on, bro. What if he hits the wall?
Why not? He's in great.
What if he hits the wall? He hasn't taken a bump in like almost a year and some change now. 2 years.
So you act like his fighting style is a crazy fighting style.
It's not. It's not. But you still have to take bumps right. You still have to sell right. You still have to be smooth in the ring. Come on, bro.
For one fight, he'll do it.
He still needs a tune-up or two, like before that fight.
He can do it. If Rock pulled it off back in 2012 and 2011, he can definitely pull this off. There's no